So we'll just jump right into it. If you can just tell me like when your nursing journey began and when did you decide you wanted to go into nursing and how did you know that you wanted to go into the nursing field?
Um, so I knew in 8th grade that I wanted to be a nurse, and it never changed. Even after high school, I still wanted to be a nurse. And I got into nursing school the end of 2018, and then I graduated in 2020. And so I took my first exam in January or February of this year, and I failed it. So I had to study quite a bit and then took it again.
Yeah. How do you feel like when you first went into the NCLEX? Like, were you doubting yourself or did you feel like you were going to pass it the first time?
No, but I was doubting myself.
You were?
I felt like I didn't think that I could do it. And then on top of that, going into that nursing or into the testing center for the first time made it even more nerve-wracking. So
Yeah.
it was all of it put together kind of, I think, made it so that I failed.
Mm-hmm. And how do you feel like after you failed? So like you said, you knew, since you were in 8th grade, like you wanted to be a nurse and you
Right.
prepared all of your nursing school, you went in, everything came down to this one test, and then you find out that you failed. What were you feeling in that moment after you found out you failed?
It was like extremely devastating. I felt extremely defeated. I didn't think I could do it. And I didn't even want to take it again. I was so defeated.
Yeah.
It took me 6 months before I felt like I could go do it again.
So then when you did pass, what did you do differently before you went in? What did you use to study and what do you think helped you pass?
So I used NCLEX Chill. That's the main thing I used. That's like the only thing I used. So I watched all the videos and then I studied up to so I took it on a Monday, and then I studied up until Sunday. At about 2 o'clock is when I ended it, and I didn't touch anything NCLEX. I didn't look at it to give myself time to process everything and not, I guess, overstress myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I talk about that in the NCLEX and Chill. Like, make sure the day before you go into your exam, don't study. Like, use that as a need day because we all need that mental break. I mean, you've been studying for, a few weeks and your mind is just like overwhelmed with information, and having like that mental break right before you take your exam is really going to help you tap into that memory bank when you're actually sitting there. It's just like if you're working out really hard and you have like really bad muscle soreness. It works the same way. Like sometimes you have to just give your muscles like a little bit of a break so that way they can recuperate and regenerate. So I know that I talk about that when I think it's in my test anxiety lesson that I say make sure the day before just stop studying, just try to relax and the information will come back to you. So that's so awesome. And what advice would you give to other aspiring nurses who maybe have failed their NCLEX and they're feeling super defeated and they just want to be a nurse so bad, but they're feeling really defeated right now because they can't pass?
Right. I would say I've been in your position before, and taking it the second time is honestly way more calm. I was way more calm because I already knew the testing center. I knew what to expect going in there, so that made it less nerve-wracking to go in. And honestly, it's nothing against you if you don't pass the first time.
Yeah.
Off day, it's okay. They're not going to look that you had to take it twice or 3 times to pass it, just that you passed it. So
exactly. Yeah, I always say a nurse is a nurse no matter how many times you fail your boards. They don't ask you when you go in for your interview, oh, how many times did you take your boards? They don't ask you. Once you pass, you're a nurse. So I just had a student last week and it was her 5th attempt and she came to me in a really low point. It was her 5th attempt and again, she used the NCLEX and Chill program solely. That's all she used and she ended up passing on her 5th time. Yeah. So like you said, it doesn't matter how many times. Like, don't feel ashamed. Don't feel defeated. Find a resource that's going to work for you and control that test anxiety. I think that is definitely a huge barrier to a lot of my students, is that test anxiety, and it's so difficult. So I try to give you guys strategies in my program to overcome that test anxiety, because it can really affect how you perform on the NCLEX. So so, well, great. That is so good to hear. Again, I am so excited for you. Do you know what specialty you're going to go into yet, or?
No, so I'm moving to Plains, Montana. So it's a
wow.
small town. Yeah. I really like surgery, so I want to try. They have an opening right now, so I'm going to try and get to that. And then eventually I do want to be a nurse anesthesiologist.
Oh, that is so cool. If I didn't go into nursing education, that was definitely my second pick. I wanted to be a nurse anesthetist, for years. My background, I'm sure you know, my background mainly is in ER and trauma. And I always said, I wanted to move up to the ICU, because I don't know if it's like this everywhere in every state, but you need 2 years of intensive care experience before you can go into the nurse anesthetist program. And I planned on transferring up to the ICU, but then, I don't know, the ER and trauma kind of stuck with me. And then my husband and I were going through infertility stuff, and the timing was just never right. But kudos to you for taking that path. If you decide to take that path, I mean, it's really awesome. I've worked with some really good nurse anesthetists, being down in the trauma, and working in surgery in the OR. Oh my gosh, that's another amazing field. You have to have a stomach for it, though, to see patients just wide open on the table. But that's super, super cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, anything else? Any last thoughts?
Honestly, just thank you for doing it, because that's the only thing that helped me pass.
That is so awesome. Yeah, absolutely. It honestly serves me more to see you guys succeed than anything else. Like I said, I love hearing these transformations. So happy for you. Thank you so much for meeting with me. And